Welcome everyone to another show of the Selection Table. We are here, West Coast Eagles. The injury list looking a little bit like day 2 of Pommy's stag do in Prague, which saw someone break a hip. We had a broken jaw when we woke up, and we had someone that dislocated their shoulder due to a classic English bar fight. So it was... We're at the problem stage of this show, but I can't wait for this one because this is exciting because we have tried to get some debuts and we are now forced to have debuts. Joining me, as always, after his little in-season sabbatical, which coincided with Carlton imploding, I am thinking of going into my savings and moving him to England permanently. Mr. Leg Dog, how are you doing?
I wouldn't be against it, to be honest. I fucking loved it over there. Mate, I'm well. I am, just off the bat, before we get to the teams, if we went with my team last week, we would have won because I had Lemmy in, and I jokingly said Harry Mackay would spend the entire game on the wing, and then you showed me his heat map, and I almost spewed up because he played on the wing. But we don't have to worry about that anymore because he's not available.
Keep telling you, can you stop making jokes? Because invariably we have told so many off-the-cuff jokes in our private chat that have come true, and we would be banned from the Carlton community with the curses we've put on this team when we've made a joke of can't wait for this person to get injured in the first quarter. And then they do. So, Let Dog, we are cursing people. And joining me as always, a man that usually is the most happiest. But what I am proud of is maybe just somewhere my influence has transcended into him, because he is starting to lose his G rating and coming into more of a PG-13 plus. Your friend and mine, the wonderful Ian Brownie from the Navy Blue Corner. How are you, mate?
Yeah, not doing too bad, Pommy. Everything Carlton's not going great. You say a positive every single week. You're testing me each and every week. These boys are doing it. Everything gets incredibly negative, and to the point where I've been kicked out of my usual room. I'm now in the kitchen living room area for those that watch every week and are like, has he been kicked out of home? No, I haven't. Still here, but hopefully maybe this change of scenery can help the Blues sort of turn it on for once, please.
Mate, it's been a testing week, hasn't it? I mean, there's chat frittering as you guys frittering. It's been a tough week. Leg Dog, talk to me. Like, usually I know you're breaking when you become cynical. And you were cynical about 4 weeks ago. So how do you deal with it? Like, Dog, talk to me. What do you do?
Just disengage, mate. Honest, I've been a member and going to the footy with my dad at every Melbourne game since 2002, I think, whenever we got those sanctions. Dad was going through a divorce at the time, and he's like, you know what? Let's help get the club back on tracks. So we've been going since then. The last 2 weeks, I haven't watched after about halfway through the first quarter, live anyway. So after the first quarter, I think we're only down by 2 points. They kicked, I think, the opening goal about 1 second into the second half, and I went, yeah, I had enough of this. And I went for a walk, and I felt quite peaceful. And then I saw the end game score and I thought, probably not going to watch the replay of that one. So just disengage.
Fucking hell, Leg Dog. Like, Jesus. If I wasn't depressed before, here we are. Ian, give me something good. And chat, let me know how you disengage and just like spiritually realign to watch this show again. What do you do, Ian?
I mean, it's tough. I was lucky, I think, on Sunday that... Dad lives in WA, so he was across for the game. Chose a lovely game to come down for. So I at least got to spend the day with the family. And we're at the fancy, president's lunch function, giving all the money to the club and enjoying that. So at least I got to have a couple of free drinks and a feed. And if it got too bad, could just go back into the rooms and get another beer. So that was nice. But I think, throughout the week, I just try to shut off as much as I can when I'm not doing the content part of it. I think that's the struggle. All of Monday thinking about what I was going to do for the review show. I was just so angry, and nothing was shaking it, and nothing I did was fixing it. But weirdly, it's now Wednesday, and the positivity has started again, as it always does, where you just try and G yourself up. But I don't know if I ever really disengage or do anything else. I think just naturally I just get sucked in each week and go, why not? Let's just go again and see what happens. But apart from that, I mean, maybe just watch a couple of movies, try to chill out. But no, I'm just an absolute nutter. It's Carlton 24/7 in my head.
I've got a bizarre friend that's really into like the new age hippie movement. So that's right up my neck of the woods because I like that. But they alerted me to something called aggression reset therapy, right? And honestly, she told me about this and I was like, okay, go on, give me it. But literally is looking in a mirror in a real dark room with a candle and just swearing. And honestly, just swear at yourself. And honestly, this sounds weird. I'm one of these people. I was quite humble on the Monday show, saying that I've got something wrong with me, that if I get really angry, the only way I can get out of it is destroy something beautiful and take it out on someone else. It's my toxic trait. If I was on Tinder, that would be my toxic trait. So it's something that I've dealt with, like, in my life, but honestly, just putting it on myself was like, honestly, the hour I had in the bathroom the other night, calling me all the names under the sun. And then I came out and I was like, I feel good now. Back, baby. You know what I mean? But I managed to call myself the C word 820 different ways. So, I mean, that's useful. That's useful. Let's see what you guys and girls have got. Hey, Danny, I love you, mate. Sharing's caring. Sharon's caring. Gone for a walk. There's something productive. Let Dog does that during the games now. So I rate that. Stay away from social media. Oh, dear. If you do the job that us three do, that's impossible. It find you. Turn off Carlton fan media. Hey, no, I agree. I am the same. I try and avoid it, and then I realise my job is social media, and I hate myself. We do have a special message, though. From a person who's not with us. We did lose someone in the midweek, so let's
They're
see
not
what
dead, I don't think, Bob, just to be clear.
I did word that like he's dead. Caveat, he is alive.
Oh, mate.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. We are out here in God's country, Cross Keys Reserve. Just done my run-throughs in preparation for what's going to be a big game on Sunday evening at Optus Stadium against West Coast. Do-or-die clash. In Pisa Bestiani, Ian Brownie, Lek Dog, H Buck, and Pommy. Out goes Charlie, Mackay, Boyd, Martin, Fogarty, and Sard. We'll get serious now, though. I'm going in Lemmy, in Lewis Young, in Jack Carroll, in Billy Wilson, in Ashton Moyer, and in Cooper Lord. If you think I'm missing someone, fire away. I think those are going to be the ins and outs this weekend. Have a good one. Go Blues.
I do like the fact he got dressed up for that.
Yeah, I like it. Wasn't wearing sleeves, so loses some points for me. Who do you reckon? Do you reckon Bucky would be the best addition to the Blues this weekend, given he did play football at some level back in the day? I'd be useless. I'd have a lot of spirit, but I'd be useless.
Oh, mate, I'd tear something within about 5 minutes and I would be out in empty paddock waiting for the easy handball out open to me. I'm not getting in there anywhere tough. So, yeah, you definitely don't want me. You're probably wanting Bucky and maybe Paolo as well. He looks like he's ready to take someone on the field there.
Pommy is deceivingly tall as well. He doesn't come across on camera. I reckon he'd be a decent forward.
Yeah, I'd definitely be in the forward line. I mean, I have the school of I'd play football like I played rugby and like I played soccer. And that's if it's not going my way, I like to get the energy going. And one of the best ways to get the energy going is just fucking hurt someone. So I would bring a bit of 80s back. Do you know what I mean? I'd be that guy that's just absolutely wedged someone in the ribs off the ball 40 metres away. Just started the melee, but I've got us all up and about. I've taken the 2 weeks and, I mean, there it is. But, yeah, Bucky would probably be quite... Where did Bucky play? Does anyone know?
Position-wise, no idea. But
he looks like a back pocket, doesn't he? He looks like...
He played for Carlton Reserves and he also played for that Craig Hutchison show, right, where they created a football team.
Yeah,
the club.
The club.
I reckon you were quite a good footballer, Ian. You've got
Oh.
like musicians are genuinely good at sport.
Look, I was quick for about 3 years, did my groin, and that was me gone. Had no skill, had not much else. But if the ball was out there in some open space on the wing, mate, I was absolutely blistering. I was, Lockie O'Brien, but can't kick is what I would say I am. And injury prone. I'm Jack Martin as well.
Didn't you just describe Lockie O'Brien? Lockie O'Brien, but can't kick. The same person, isn't it? Zaki Borg, 99 donation. Love you, brother. Well, let's get straight into this. And we're going to pick on Ian. We haven't started with Ian for a bit. I've changed it up because evidently the old format only allowed 3 ins and 3. So we had to change it. There you are. Ian, take us away.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't know where to start. Obviously, all the players that are injured are out. So, trying to go through it and have a look. Obviously, you've got, Sard, Curnow, Fogarty, Martin, Boyd, Mackay. They're out. And I've gone big and I've absolutely dropped Jesse Motlop because I just hated his game on the weekend. And I would have dropped Pitternet too because him jogging, not even jogging, him walking through the middle when the ball is a meter away is horrific. And I was so angry on Sunday. But unfortunately, there's literally no one else to bring in. I could have brought maybe Big Dom into ruck or maybe Murkov, but
the volleyballer, mate.
I know, but I decided to keep Pitto in there, but he's very lucky. He's on thin ice. But I just thought Motlop was really poor. And now that we've got, Durden available to play, I think that's a pretty simple switch there. And then everything else, I'll just kind of take you through it. Obviously, the forward line is the biggest issue. And what are you doing without your 2 best key forwards in there? So I thought, okay, let me come straight in. That's really easy. What do you do with the other one? Is it Young, Gov, or Kemp? And when I was looking at Gov and Kemp between those two, I went, who's the better defender? It's McGovern. He's staying in the back line. It's Kemp or Young. And Pommy and I were chatting about this as well, I think, last night. Kemp and McGovern are so similar. They're that rebounding intercept player. How are we getting the best out of everything, knowing we have to move someone out of there? And what's that look like? And I think Kemp is a better forward than Young. And I like the idea of getting Young in there to be that lockdown defender. And that hopefully gets a bit more out of Wiedering, allowing him to intercept and sort of have the best fix that issue. Backline, we don't have Sard. We don't have Boyd. Chincotta gets elevated, and then Zach Williams will go to the defense as well. And then you've got issues in the forward line with Jack Martin and Fogarty. I've given Moya the Jack Martin role, probably the most simple like-for-like style player, someone who can mark, someone that's meant to be a bit more of a dynamic forward in there. And then the other option, obviously, there was Fogarty. What do you do? I wanted a bit of leg speed, wanted something, and it was really between Binns and Fantasia. Fantasia's the more obvious choice, but he's coming off not playing football for how long? And so what are we doing again? Are we bringing in a guy that isn't fit, that we have been annoyed about every time he got selected this season just because he's got some name or brand value? No, I'm bringing in Jackson Binns. Give him a shot.
We know what
adds
the club
wing
will do,
rotation. I know, but I don't want to do that. So Binns in
with you
on the half forward for some run, bit of attacking flair, and just bring something different. And then I think the last one that I haven't covered is then, unfortunately, Jack Carroll. I've made him the sub, basically, because I could not fit him in here because Cooper Lord's going in the midfield. We know he's been selected. That's what I want to see this week. So, yeah, there is a lot of changes, a lot to cover. So throw any questions you have at me.
I mean,
yeah,
ins and outs, and they're not even they're just forced. Crazy.
And Motlop's been dropped, which I liked that. I really wish I could just throw Pitternet out. Honestly, if there was anyone else available, it doesn't even have to be a ruckman, just someone I trust to go through there, I would have done it for Pitternet. It's just jog. At least make it look like you're trying to run out there. Do something.
Were you on the show last week, Brownie? Remind me.
I believe so. Everything feels like a whirlwind at this stage. Oh yeah, when you
threw in Murkov.
The point is that I dropped Pitto last week, and then he was fucking shit again. And I love, spoiler, I also haven't dropped him this week. But I really wanted to. I just figured, and maybe your thought process is the same, because you've cut Motlop, which I think takes cojones. I like that. When you're already losing 6 players through injury, it is hard to axe a couple more, isn't it?
It's tough. I think at least with the Motlop one, there's a simple like-for-like small forward change. And compared to probably the other players that I'm taking out as well, I wouldn't have wanted to have Motlop, Owies, and Durden in that team. So if it wasn't like if Motlop stayed in this team, that Durden would have come in for a Fogarty or a Martin. That's not how I think the team balance works. So it kind of left that only fit depth player was available to take his spot. So it kind of worked out well.
Ian, Kemp. I know we talked about this last night, but I think it's a good conversation for chat to be involved as well. Kemp, is this something you're seeing for Kemp long term as well? Like maybe that swingman type player that Carlton seemed to be flirting with, but never fully committed. Is this something that you think could be Kemp's option? Because like we were talking about, McGovern and Kemp, they're the same player, aren't they? Just different poison. Is this maybe a string to his bow in the next couple of weeks?
It's a tough one. I'm not sure. I think with Kempy, I know they tried it a while ago and it honestly didn't look good. Kemp down forward looked bad when it happened. I'm probably seeing it as more, I was going to drop Kemp if there wasn't injuries and there was someone to come in, because I think he's had a really poor run of form. My issue is he just gives his opponent so much space. He's off him by 5 meters every time, and I don't think he has that closing speed to do it. I feel like it's because he's worried he's going to get outbodied because he's slightly undersized, but it's not working and I don't love it. So he was kind of just out of necessity because I didn't want him in the back line. I was going to drop him from the team. He literally only comes back in because Harry Mackay was out. Originally, I kind of made this team with Harry in. When his injury was confirmed last night, I was like, shit, I need to bring someone back in. I need a forward, Kemp. And maybe it works. Maybe it is something that we can see in the future. I think he's meant to be a good ball user. We probably don't see that a lot, but at least he likes to have a dashing run. So maybe, and he's a really good mark. Really good mark. So maybe there is something about him being able to push higher up the grounds and help us move the ball forward. But I think in the end with Kempy, I do see him as a defender. He's just very young at this stage, so he still needs to develop.
Breaking Carlton news, everyone. Ashley Hansen has ruled himself out of the West Coast job.
Ooh.
So there you go. Paddy
So
Sweeney reporting.
Tactically, we might be good again now. They might let him in the
If he's allowed to coach again. Is that the theory?
Yeah, it could be. Ian, people asking, Billy Wilson, no love for Billy Kimber.
Yeah, I don't mind Billy Wilson. I just don't know where I'd play him when I looked at all of this. I don't see him ready for the midfield, so he probably would have come in off the half back. Maybe you can do something where Binns doesn't play, Zach Williams stays forward, and Billy Wilson goes into the defense. But I just don't trust him yet compared to maybe all the rest I brought in, even though, Lemmy's probably not ready. Binns, borderline. I think I just trust Binns slightly more than Billy Wilson at this stage. And Binns is probably in a role that, because he's in that front half, if he does make an error, it might not necessarily cost us a goal. Billy Wilson in the back line worries me. So probably stiff. He'll probably play this week. Who knows? He's at least fit and has had some sort of form. But I just couldn't find a spot. I wasn't sure exactly where to play him. What do you guys think with Billy and where he could potentially come in?
I mean, spoiler alert, he's going to be in my back line this week. Jackson Binns, as much as I have invested in him in various dynasty and keeper leagues for Supercoach and fantasy, I just haven't seen enough the last couple of weeks. It was very nice when he was getting 40 disposals and 30 disposals, but I think there's enough smoke there that I'm not sure, even with 6 outs, we're actually going to see him in real life. So that's my fear.
It's going to be interesting, isn't it? Because I thought it would be a great little performance because he's basically mini Sard with thuggery. Like, if you were going like for like, it would make sense. But I mean, you would have thought Carlton would have done it by now, done the announcement, unless
It is
they're
weird,
going
isn't it?
to do it every day until the game to try and build some hype. But if they do that, I'm gonna have to comment on a Carlton post, which I don't often do.
Well,
If I see
who's a-
3 ins, I'll go mental.
So who's available to come in that's not debuted yet and is healthy? So there's Fantasia,
Murkoff.
there's Durden.
Oh, who's what?
Yeah, as
who's
in
already
who's
played?
Debuted.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it. Like, there has to be more debuts. There has to be.
That was probably another element of it. Was Binns
yes,
has
technically
he's
Binns has
played
played a game.
a quarter of AFL football, so it wouldn't necessarily maybe be as a bigger moment for him where you worry will he get overawed by the occasion or anything like that. But I mean, these are really minuscule things. I'm not saying that Billy Wilson would shit himself out there, but yeah, it was very borderline call a few of these blokes. Honestly, toss a coin at this stage.
Lewis Young's the other one. Sorry, so
Carroll.
Jack Carroll. It could be that they've only announced Lord because the other 5 are players who have already played, which is not.
That's the theory, but I'm going to be honest. I'll vomit if we do it like fucking one debut a day, like it's some kind of shit Christmas. Like,
never rule anything past this club.
That will say everything. Like, you thought Pom went postal after this loss. Club, listen to me and listen to me well. You stagger debut announcements out. Fuck, I will flip Diddy flip if you dare lose this weekend. If you do that,
like, engagement, Pommy.
For 28 minutes.
I've got engagement for you. Fucking win a flag. Win a flag. How's that? There's engagement. I can fix that for you. But like dog, you were quite mild this week.
Yeah, just the 6 changes from me. Well, so the reason I didn't make, I was really, really tempted to make a 7th and 8th change, which would have been Pito for Murkov, mostly for the band to have. If we didn't have 6 injuries, Murkov was in, and we're going to have that discussion again. And then Binns for Motlop was the other one I was going to have. But instead, I haven't dropped Motlop completely, but I have moved him to the sub position. But I'm in that same vein of thinking with you, Brownie. So the side is Wilson comes in for Sard as a like-for-like placement. Young comes in for McGovern, although I want Young at fullback. I want Wiedering. Give him 1 week to just play not fullback. Let him play off his man a little bit for a week. See if he can cover Kemp a bit more. Let's make Young the lockdown defender on a... I don't even know who their tall forwards that are actually playing. I don't know if Darling's playing, whoever it is. McGovern forward, because, we saw it once 10 years ago. Moya comes in for Jack Martin, because I think we drafted Moya to be Jack Martin's replacement. I don't know if that's actually going to happen in real life, but that's the like for like. Lemmy comes in for Charlie. Who else we got? Ollie Lord comes in and Jack Carroll comes in for Kerno and Boyd. So it's around the edges what you do with the team. So for me, Lord straight into the midfield rotation. I've moved Walsh out onto a wing because, again, for the 3rd, 4th, 5th week in a row, I think he's getting sucked into contest. It isn't being that impactful. Let's drag him out, force him to create space, force him to use that running that he has. As a result, I want to use Akers as sort of a defensive, as a wing, in a wing rotation, but also maybe to shore up the back line a bit. Carroll comes in to rotate mid and forward. Chincotta, I don't know if we're tagging anyone, but again, he's another rotation through defense. I think with Chincotta, I actually almost pulled him out of the side just because I still don't know where they're best placed to use him. Because when he's doing this half tag, half defense, get thrown forward thing, and I know last week was a bit different because there was injuries, it just doesn't work. He needs one clearly defined role, and I don't know what it is this week, but I've kept him in just because he's alive and seems to give a shit. Motlop moves to sub. Corey Durden doesn't come in for me. Just haven't seen. He missed a lot of time, came back to the VFL, wasn't terribly impressive in the VFL. Jackson Binns doesn't come into me. That's, for me, that's more about what I think the club will do than what I personally want to do. But to be honest, we're getting smashed spirits are down. If he comes in and does nothing or is weak at the contest, he's just going to get crucified by the fans. And then the only other one that was in my calculations I mentioned was Alex Murkov, more for the memes, but also because, good Lord, said it last week, he couldn't be doing any worse.
I'll be honest with you. Like, we've tried picking teams to win. We've tried picking teams to wind me up. Why don't we pick a team for the meme? I could get behind that. And I like if Michael Voss Thursday, right? Mitch Cleary's there and like, Mr. Voss, Alex Murkov, can you explain that? And he just looks deadpan in the camera and goes, for the memes? I'll be like, yes.
And yes, I said Ollie Lord, probably because I own him in several Dynasty Keeper leagues, and that's pretty much how I recognise players in the AFL.
Z Will, Adrian, Zach Williams.
Actually, Zach Williams is another one that I considered sort of throwing back into defence for his run, but then I was looking through Billy Wilson's numbers this year, and I think that's just a better option. Z Will can play that forward role better than Motlop has this year, actually better than Motlop has ever, except for that one game where he came in and kicked 3 goals or whatever it was. So, yeah, that's my team. And to be honest with you, I still maintain, I'll say it again, if we picked my team last week, we don't lose to the Hawks by 80 points or whatever it was.
Mate, now like confidence. I love it. Dog, my question for you is quite a simple one. If everyone was available and you've brought in a few players, right, this week, which of the players you've brought in, Young, Wilson, Moyer, Carroll, Lord, Lemmy, do you think are deserving to play if everyone was fit?
That's a good question. I think deserving, Lord is deserving. I don't know if he gets into a full team, but I think he's deserving in terms of how he applies himself. I picked Lemmy last week, and that was, it was disguised as a joke, but that was based in merit. So I think Lemmy is deserving. And then maybe Young, but again, in a full team, he's probably not getting in. Wilson's had some good numbers. I don't know if he deserves to be in the team. Jack Carroll, I don't know if he deserves to be in the team, and Moyer probably doesn't deserve to be in the team. So I'd say 3 of the 6 deserve to have a crack.
Mate, I like it. I like it. Ian, any questions? And chat, you're giving him a lot of love. Ask a question.
It is hard to come up with a lot in this. I like the squad. I like what you've done with it. What's your kind of, I guess, midfield rotations around this? We've got quite a few guys that can clearly go through there. And because I guess looking at the numbers on the weekend, we kind of kept the same few guys. It was Cripps, Walsh, Kennedy, Hewitt for the most part. We didn't really change that up at all, which I found quite strange. How are you kind of seeing that split? And then is there someone that you maybe want to allow more time out of the midfield to maybe go down forward and fill a hole? How are you kind of seeing the versatility that we've been potentially forced into?
Yeah, well, that inability to make decisions in game has been apparent for a while. That refusal to change up the midfield is a concern. I've pushed Walsh out wide so that we can rotate a bit more. I want Kennedy on the ball. Last week he showed why he should be on the ball. Him, Hewitt, Cripps, I think you can still work around them. I don't think you necessarily need that pace on the inside if you're going to win the hitouts. I'd love to see Lige go through for 15, 20% of game time. I'd love to see Lord. Lord has to play midfield, so he's probably my 4th midfielder, and Walsh is the one that comes out. My fear this week is that without the forwards that we've got missing, they're going to push Kennedy forward as a permanent forward and use him as like the centre half forward, which he can probably do a decent enough job of, but I really just want him around the ball. He makes stuff happen. He runs forward. Carroll as well. Like, he's a centre bounce. We really don't have that many options, but Cripps, Kennedy, and Hewitt, for me, are the core midfielders with some time split between Lord and Carroll. And I'm happy if Walsh doesn't go in the actual contest for the whole game because it's not working currently as it is. So put him really forward. I mean, why not?
This might be really stupid because he's been our by far best midfielder. But is there any scope to maybe move Cripper down forward at some stage and just kind of make the rest of the midfield have to step up and see what they can do in moments with him? Or are you simply saying, no, he's clearly our best midfielder. If everyone else isn't working, why move him? How are you seeing that kind of potential move?
Yeah. It's tough. I tell you what, I would move him the second, if I'm in the coach's box, the second I see him try and take on the game and do the heroic moment where he gets done for holding the ball, pulling him out of the midfield and pushing him forward for 10 minutes, just because I think Cripper can often put it on himself and he probably tries too hard to change the game at times, and often it leaves, while it's inspiring when it works, a lot of the times this year it's kind of just made him look like a lone soldier and he's kind of been done or kicked it out the full or whatever. So I wouldn't plan to move him forward, but the second I see him, I'm going to say trying too hard in quotation marks, I'm happy to try him forward. I just think we're just afraid to make those in-game changes and give, like, if Lige is on a heater, put him in for a few minutes. We seem to, as a club currently, it's either you play 100% midfield or you don't play midfield at all. Whereas I think you can play with those percentages pretty easily. Even if it is Kennedy spends a quarter of the game across the game up forward and it's Lige or Carroll in the midfield, like, can we try it?
Do you think it's because the coaches are maybe like a little bit scared? I know this is such a stupid mindset, but if the best aren't getting it done, maybe someone else won't be able to do it, and then just sticking to what we know, because if you throw Elijah in there, make a different move, and it is even worse, that it's going to go back in their face.
Well, it couldn't be worse. It couldn't possibly be worse. It's a lot of good clubs, and I haven't done the proper data analysis in this, but my vibe is historically good clubs still find ways to inject new players, debutants, role players into their teams. And last year, when we turned it around, was when we were injecting our role players into the teams. But we've sort of gone back to, and we're kind of we're putting the best names on the paper. And imagine if Doherty was available this whole year, we would have had another midfielder we were trying to slot in to this team without any sort of actual structure. So, it's concerning that we haven't brought in new players and debuted, other than Lige, really, this year. Haven't really brought anyone into this side.
A lot of people asking, D was one of them, Andy, Clint, who are you playing a Chincotta tag role? And if so, who? Or is he
who? Harley Reid. I don't think Harley Reid, I mean, he'll probably dominate us now. I don't think he's enough of a threat to warrant a tag. I think Chincotta's, honestly, you could probably better off using him as a defender this week. And just saying I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Just be like, Pom loves you. Stop being shit.
Yeah, I don't think it's his fault he's being shit.
That'd be a good...
No stability for him.
Mate, yeah, one thing I did want to just quickly ask you about, because you mentioned Zach Williams. When I was doing the ratings, because I thought I imagined it in the second half. So, I watched the game 3 times. I did the review, and then I watched it. Terry made me watch it that 4th time, because I totally forgot all the times I was watching it not to make any ratings notes about positions. And one of my notes was, I remember the second time I watched it, I just put, what the fuck is Zach Williams doing? And I was like, I'm pretty sure we've put him back to halfback, right? And to my shock and or horror, he played a whole half at halfback. Did that not worry you to what you said? Because I think, and I was mentioning this in JP's chat last night, our form when we were good was because we had to bring in role players, like you said, and make people fit into that. So if you were a square, you went in the square hole, and you might not be a superstar square peg, but at least you were a fucking square peg. Did you not think it was bizarre? All of a sudden, Zach Williams was back to halfback out of necessity, and then you were thinking, why, because Mr. Uranus, great name, by the way, he said, why haven't these kids been trialled when we had the injuries the first time? Like, why didn't we see Billy Wilson? Because that point, we started playing around with halfback with Kennedy there. Wilson was named best on 3 weeks in a row for the VFL. So the logical replacement was Billy Wilson. Why do you think that is?
I think it comes to the coaches. It's the same reason Fantasia played every game he was available for. It's because the coaches would rather go with the, and it's a very NBA thing, they'd rather go with the known quantity than the unknown quantity. I know that at worst, this guy's going to give me X output. But for me, I would rather play the third best halfback flanker, who's, let's say it's Billy Wilson for this discussion, who's available, than the 10th best halfback flanker in Zach Williams, who's now a forward. Even though Zach Williams is a better player lining the two up next to each other, I would rather the guy who's more suited to the role or more able to execute the role. We did that last year. That was the fear. Well, at the start of this year, we were talking about when everyone's fit, how are we going to fit them in? And we're talking about it like it was a positive problem to have. But the problem actually has become we're just trying to fit them all in rather than putting together a proper football team.
I do remember doing a pre-season video, though, where we said we were actually worried because you might just play all the same type of player and it become complex. And
I remember round one teams, I had Sam Doherty in the forward line and the chat was losing their mind. And then I think he started in the forward line before he got injured. So,
well, ironically, that's the question I'd love to be able to ask Vossi, because at the start, Zach Williams' role now was Sam Doherty's. They said they wanted a bit of experience and someone that could find the ball in the forward line that wasn't a giant. So I would love to know what would have happened to Zach Williams if Sam Doherty had stayed fit all year, because he probably wouldn't be in the side. So then you'd ask the question, where are you playing him?
Exactly. And that's the question, right? Because he would be in the side. He'd probably
be playing over Cowan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
was what I was saying at. We'd probably not have the good joy of Cowan, or worse still, we might have gone back to Sam Doherty on the wing and not got Akers or the development of Hollands. Like, God knows what could have happened. Like, it's actually probably a good thing. Like, maybe we should thank Russell for killing the players, because fuck knows what the first 6 rounds could have looked like.
That's going to be very interesting. Very interesting in the off season, because the list isn't balanced. There's a lot of talent on it, but it's actually not balanced.
Well, everyone in chat, just think, I've done a bit of research. There is a video coming to follow this, but this is like Poms sniffing how the fans feel about what I'm going to say. But I went mental. So I looked at this team and I was like, right, okay, I've got 2 options here. I can either be the loving mum and go, it's all right, boys, you've all got boo-boos. I'll forgive you for letting me down. Or I could be the fucking daddy, right, and go, ignore fucking mum. This is the standards of this house. And daddy right now is pulling rank. I've lost Fogarty, injury, Kerno, injury, Boyd, injury, Motlop, fucking just disgrace over the last 4 weeks.
Brain injury.
Pitternet, see you, mate. Sard, Mackay, Martin, regrettably injured. And what I did is I thought about it. Lewis Young, right? The big issue we've got in the middle at the moment is, at the moment, when Mark Pitternet is in as a ruckman, right? His defence at the moment is akin to the little fat guy at the Dorchester Hotel in London that opens the door and says, enjoy your afternoon, sir, with the midfield. So when Lewis Young has gone into the ruck, he averages 1.8 tackles. Pitternet averages 1. So I was like, okay, already he's better than him. And it gives me the option to float him down back, right? If I need to, I can float him down back. Last week, we put Kennedy in the ruck. So if we want to go that medium-sized guy and it all goes tits up, at least play the extra midfield in there. Dione, you know me very well. Says, don't read into what I'm saying. Do you know what I mean? I'm a dual adopted parent household, but mummies can be naughty as well. But I am a male. I can't say I'm the mummy. I suppose I can. I'm in 2024. I can be whatever I feel like. Blake Acres, halfback flank. Why have I got him halfback flank? I want Walsh on the wing. I also want a marking option there, right? So Voss keeps flirting with it and then playing him on the ball. Let's cut out the middleman. Play him halfback. Cowan is going to play the pure intercept role, which then allows Acres to be that loose one that Lockie Cowan was. So I've tried to do that. Nick Newman there at halfback doing what he does. And Chincotta, I've tried to change this up. And I'm not going to have the run off halfback. I'm going to have the mobility with Newman and Acres. So I want a pure lockdown. So basically his job, just on the forward. Just be a dickhead. Win all the ball all the time. Then I looked at the midfield. I want a Bull, Cripps, Kennedy, and I want to be able to use Lord in a happy place. So I want to use him like Harry Sheasel, Nick Dacos when he's on there. He can tackle, which we know, but I want him to burst and look for them avenues of space. Walsh goes out to the wing because I just can't see it anymore. I need him on the wing, get out of space. We'll find you. Lemmy, Kemp's gone full forward. The reason is I've loved VFL. I've loved Harry Lemmy doing everything to create space in behind him. This week for Liam McMahon, I thought he did fantastic because I think 5 of them goals were Harry Lemmy's leading and creating the space. So I want him to work up the ground, have a bit of fun, try and create some space because we've got some dangerous players still here. Zach Williams, always, and Kemp. Just be a nuisance. If he plays like he does defend in the forward line, he's probably going to get 12 goals. Binns, half forward. He's played 2 weeks there. It hasn't been great, but you're basically Cottrell. Elijah be the link man. Alazio comes back in because I want the experience and he can play everywhere. I don't have to see Acres pinch it in on the ball. Carroll, Hewitt, bit of reliability. I want Hewitt to play the tagging role like he did at Sydney in this team. I've lost Chincotta. I want him to go and have a big body on Harley Reid and be that tackle. Ashton Moyer comes in because I want that link man. I want someone who works hard up the ground, which he's better than Martin at. And Corey Durden was the last name available as my sub. So Corey Durden came in. He wasn't bad last week. But if Matty always goes full Matty always and goes anonymous or Zach Williams does half, come on and tackle. That's the team. We've called 2 extra players. And that's Pom sending a statement to the Sick Note Brigade, but also the Lazy Brigade.
I love the Acres at halfback Pom because the Walsh at wing thing works so well. Actually, Acres is really interesting at halfback. I bought in Billy Wilson, but I can see them backing in Acres over him in that role. Did you consider a Wilson over a Durden? I think Wilson's the only player who's available or alive that isn't in your team.
Yeah, I was going to. I wanted to try and encourage that leading patterns with the kicks. I felt when Boyd came back in, our backline really lost what they were. It felt like McGovern and Boyd were fighting against Sard and Kemp wanting to take off quickly. So I've gone, right, let's just go with one set of factors here. We're going to spread and we're going to look for the midfield to create them running patterns. So I did want Billy Wilson in. I just thought I'd trust Chincotta more to play that role. He's the quickest player at the club, but he's also very tough. So I don't want Wilson to come in and say, right, we're locking someone down first game. Chincotta's been there. Sam, my beautiful wife's been pregnant twice. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. Especially I wouldn't wish it on her husband who has to go and drive and get takeaway at 4 a.m. That was hard as well. But no, to answer your question, I did consider him, but I just thought put Chincotta there. He's done it, and I feel like Chincotta deserves a full game playing football, not I'll tag you, and then when this fucks up, I'll put you here so we can blame you. He's playing back pocket. He's owning that back pocket 90 minutes, 90% of the game. Have a bit of fun and enjoy yourself.
I like it. He's the same size as Cowan as well, so he's probably taller than people realise. I like it.
No, I really love it. And honestly, it's hard to come up with a question based off that because you kind of nailed everything. So my question to you, Pom, is maybe a little bit separate to this, but is there one change that I guess Vossi and co can make this week that would actually excite you about, okay, maybe something is changing. They're going to try something slightly different to get you pumped up for the game. Is there any of your changes that you've made, or whether it's just bringing in a player or dropping someone, anything that I guess Wazze could do that you would be happy about?
I'd love Wazze to come out and say 90% on the ball will be Cooper Lord. I've got a horrible feeling. I don't know why, because there was a passage of play in the final quarter of the VFL where Cooper Lord started playing in the back pocket and then played in the forward line for a spurt. I've got a horrible feeling they're going to use him as some kind of pseudo half forward, manufacture something, and we're not going to see it.
Kill him.
I'd love him to say that my midfield is going to be Cripps, Lord, and pinch hitting around them. We're going to go for brute strength and brutality, and Hewitt's going to be the accessory. Him dropping Pitternet would excite me, 100%. And announcing Lemmy would excite me, because I feel like he's literally, for me, and I said it in my preview today of the VFL, if we're actually being honest, the two most improved players in the VFL are Harry Lemmy and Billy Wilson by Flemington straight, of what they've had to their game. So Lemmy being that provider and that auxiliary is something we don't even have in the seniors, because I don't think Harry and Charlie work well together. I don't think they work as a foil. When I think of great partnerships, Kennedy and Darling, they worked separate lanes, spread, worked for each other, and it was always a question of if one doesn't get you the other. Where Harry and Charlie, I feel like it's whoever kicks the first goal, the other guy just goes up the wing and becomes an outlet ball or plays in the pocket. I want Lemmy there and him going, right, I'm going to try and get as much space for Owies and Williams. So that would excite me if Wazze said, centre-half forward, Harry Lemmy, he's going to bring the ball to ground for his smallers and create space in behind. That's all he's going to do. We're not judging him on goals. We're judging him on his leads this week. That would excite me, because then I'd think, fuck, if you can get Harry doing that, we could kick ass.
Well, that definitely excites me. I think Harry Lemmy himself, and this is probably the best time to debut him, around the fact that whether he's ready or not, whatever you want to put that on there, the fact that we have no other forward, no pressure on him actually having a big input. If he has a shocker, everyone just goes, well, Carlton's been playing like shit. We couldn't score goals last week. Is our forward line just different? It's not. The blame isn't going to come on him and how he's playing. We're going to find so many other excuses as to why he has a bad game. So I think it's just the perfect opportunity, and his form, as you're saying, in the VFL has been good enough that if there is an injury to a key tool, considering the list is built that if there's an injury, it's either De Koning forward or Harry Lemmy. Well, De Koning's not there. So this is what he's there for. Otherwise, you surely would have brought in someone else to cover. So it'll annoy me if we try to conjure up something else rather than giving Lemmy that spot, because it's like, well, why even have him there?
The only thing that makes me sad is I really wanted to drop Hewitt. Like, I love Hewitt, but this game, if I could make Lord debut, I would love to go to the Voss. One game Lord plays with Kennedy, one game Lord plays with Hewitt. Because my message as a coach to these players, if I was Nick Austin, I'd be speaking to these players and saying, do me a fucking favour for 2 weeks and give me trade bait in this list. Give me trade bait. Lord, you fucking have 25 touches, 4 tackles and break lines. I don't have to buy a midfielder, but suddenly I've got a bit of trade bait in this team. Suddenly I haven't got the same people all the time relied on. So I think this is a chance for a career defining moment. Lemmy versus Ashton Moyer. Teams play 3 tolls. It's been known to. Ashton Moyer, is he going to be the Jack Martin? I feel like this team for 2 weeks, I think it can beat any side in the AFL because it's quick and exciting. But I also feel like it's a team that could really, really ask a few questions at the end of the year of who do we re-sign? Who do we trade in? And suddenly I'll be on the phone to North Melbourne going, guys, LDU, you want someone to help him? How much are you offering for Kennedy or Hewitt? Because we've got Cooper Lord.
It's as my dogs work out how to open the door again.
Mate, you shouldn't.
Interesting.
Mate.
West Coast do have a very tall forward line. That's so if they start getting it out the back to one-on-ones, that's where I'm slightly concerned. But we can't. I'm not suggesting your back line can't is going to be responsible for that. But we do need to be really good defensively through the midfield, which we have not done. So I do think having Hewitt there as in a fully defensive role to support Lord is probably a good shout.
Mate, so far ahead, I'm lonely. And then what I've shown you is this. So I've done a bit of research. There's a video coming, but it got me thinking. Me and Ian had a deep chat last night, but you'll see here, traditionally, over the last 5 years, what roles is in a 22. Is in a 22. So you can see here that traditionally teams play a one-on-one defender at fullback, obviously. Then teams will have the slash is obviously dependent on what the other slash is in that line. So you'll see like teams will either play an intercept mid defender, like a third tall, or a lockdown, but all teams play a lockdown. Then you've got like the attack kick, called it attack kick, someone who's either attacking with running or a very good kick, someone who's an expert kick. You've got your line breaker. Your midfield is really interesting because this is where me and Ian were talking last night. We don't have the biggest part of this, and that's the extractor type line breaker point of difference that's on the bench. Like someone that comes into that midfield. Every team plays an accumulator, an extractor, and a bull, but the extra in there, that Lekdog was asking, that extra rotation is the point of difference, the guy who changes the game. Wings are wings, ruck, mid-attack, third tall or a link, goal sneak, lockdown, forward defender. Then you've got usually one target and then a guy who makes leads at centre-half forward. We've got two targets. You can see there, I thought when I did this, you could already see the list issues with our best 22 that we're playing since everyone's fit. But you could actually see all but the key forward positions when we had them injuries. We kind of ticked all the boxes, didn't we? Because everyone was injured.
Yeah, there's some list holes when you look at it. Definitely.
We'll have Nick Haynes next year, so that'll be fun. I actually quite like Nick Haynes. Good depth.
He's fine if he's taken Sam Durden's spot, but if he's meant to be the actual starting every week, that
he'll play every week. Lock it in now. Be Fantasia in the back line. Can we pick the team? Because I have to run very shortly.
Yeah, we'll smash it out now. Let's go. Sorry, Lekdog. I'm sorry to bore you.
Not good. Just committed.
So quickly, there is what we're up against. You can see this is quite scary. We are currently statistically, if we were a football team, 15th. So statistically, our numbers mirror a 15th side in the league. And you can see West Coast are almost as good. So let's pick this team. So backline, what we'll do is we'll do one each. We'll give you guys and girls 3 to make it easy. So Lekdog, backman, who are you saving?
Lucky Cowan.
What do I do there?
Oh, God. It's all happening.
Lucky Cowan is saved. Mr. Ian, who are you saving?
We will go Chincotta down back.
The Cock Dog. I will save Mr. Whittaker. I'll play him fullback just to create some issues. So, chat, you need a backman. You need a centre half back and 2 halfbacks. Thank you for your kind words, Alex. I love you, mate. So I need 3 names from your chat. Akers, Binns, Carroll, Cripps, Durden, Elijah, Fantasia, Hewitt, Hollands, Kemp, Kennedy, Lemmy, Lord, McGovern, Moyer, Motlop, Newman, Owes, Pitternet, Walsh, Williams, Wilson, and Young. Dom Aku. We could have put Dom Aku in there. Surprisingly,
he was close to being my ruckman. He was this close to being my ruckman over Pitt, and I'm not even kidding, because at least he can move. Like a Murkov, I don't trust to move around.
So we're having the names coming in. Wilson, McGovern. Looks like Wilson might get a debut here, chat. Look at this!
I think so.
Billy! Oh, look, latecomers. People love the Akers at halfback.
Yui and Gava in, 100%. Wilson, 1, 2, 3, 4. Akers, 1, 2, 3. It's pretty tight. Akers, it's tied. It's literally tied right now.
So is it the next
Lekdog
Akers?
v. Pom. Who gets the vote?
I mean, I did have Akers rotating back anyway, so I'm okay with it either way.
It looks like it's
Lockie
Akers.
Jack. Well, yeah, he's got Wilson as well. I actually think it's Wilson. If I'm being,
I think it's Wilson.
I think Wilson's just stormed in.
Oh yeah, Wilson at the end.
He's got 4 in a row. Oh, sorry, we just Plowman at Lockie Jack's behest.
There we are. So there we are, chat. There's the back line. Chincotta, Whittaker, Cowan, Newman, McGovern, Wilson. Midfielders, Mr. Legdog.
Midfielders. So who did I have in my midfield? Can you put Sam Walsh on a wing for me? Let's just put him on a wing.
Okay, Mr. Ian.
Cooper Lord in the guts, please.
I'm going to save Ollie.
Nice.
This is a hot team.
Okay, chat. We need 3 midfielders. You've got Binns, Carroll. One of them needs to be a ruck as well. So you need to have a ruck and a centreman and a rover. So centreman and 2 inside midfielders. Binns, Carroll, Cripps, Durden, Elijah, Fantasia, Hewitt, Kemp, Kennedy, Lemmy, Moyer, Motlop, Owes, Pitner, Williams, and Young.
Cripps,
Forever Young.
Bam Bam. We had our first vote for Young.
Oh, look at this.
Young.
Go on.
Young.
Get my boy Louis in. You know what? If you get Louis in, I'll fucking go out tomorrow and buy.
Young and Cripps are in. And I reckon
Kiddo full forward. Doesn't have to move out of the square because he won't.
It's Cripps, Young, Bam Bam.
I promise. Look, there you are. I'm going to go out tomorrow, buy a Lewis Young shirt. Mrs. Pom will hate me, but I will go out and buy a fucking Lewis Young shirt, chat. I'm going to get around him. So it looks like it's Cripps and Kennedy.
Bam Bam, yeah. Hewitt getting some late votes.
Tell you what, that is a proper football team. We should. I thought we changed the constitution, and this is actually the selection. Can you imagine that?
There'd be a lot more viewers.
The players tuned in like this.
Imagine Vossi hoping to fucking watch on YouTube to find out what team he's getting.
He can be part of the selection panel if he wants.
Oh, geez,
I'll make a space.
I'd love to hear the thoughts on Fantasia getting in.
Anyway. So we've got, thank you, Saz. You look after me. You see? So even I need mothering, Saz, sometimes. Half forward. We need some forwards. Mr. Lemmy. Debut! Ian?
Yeah, I'm going to have a think here. Would it be fun? Gee, Pitternet in the full forward would be hilarious. I think I am going to... God damn it, there's so many players here. Kemp. We'll go Kemp forward. There you go.
Look at this.
Oh, yeah. Nice. I actually don't mind that. He can swing with Gov if you really need to.
I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I genuinely think I'm going to push for this. At the AGM, I'm going to suggest we become the selectors. Live streaming it be fucking sick, wouldn't it? Can you imagine the families in? What did you say about my son?
All right, chat. We need 3 forwards.
Oh, wait, I haven't picked mine. Fucking hell, like dog.
Fucking hurry up,
Elijah, chat. We need 3 forwards.
Pom's broken his camera. Let's back
They are. So 3 forwards. Elijah, Kemp. Motlop is there. Geordie, you're voting, mate. We're a democracy here, not an autocracy.
Williams, always large. Moya, Williams, always
I've already saved Lidge, chat. So I wouldn't let the boy down. It looks
like
Williams getting heaps.
Always and Williams are in.
I think Moya's copped it.
I think it's currently tied between Williams and Akers.
Moya's getting some love here.
Yeah, I think Moya's in.
Yes! Yeah. Ashton! My boy!
We're just dropping debutants left, right, and centre.
Mate, it doesn't matter because you know what? When the war's about to be lost, it's time someone stood up, right? And give it to Ashty. Right, okay, we need our bench. So we will have a 5-man bench. Mr. Legdog.
All right, so who we've got? Akers, Binns, Carroll, Durden, Fantasia, Hewitt, Motlop, and Pito. I will take Blake Akers. He's a good friend of a friend.
AK, Mr. Ian.
I'm going to try and successfully drop Motlop, so give me Durden, please.
So we've got our extra forward rotation. Good to know.
Oh, there you go. Sorry, guys. Take it.
You know what? I'm going to give Binns his debut.
His real debut.
Yeah.
Sub again, buddy.
Right, so chat. 2 names. There they are. Carroll, Fantasia, Hewitt, Motlop, Pitternet. So let's have a look. We've got big. Hewitt, Carroll. I'll count that as a vote. Hewitt, Motlop, your first 2 I'll take. Okay. Hewitt, Motlop. Hewitt, Razzle Dazzle says a lady of culture. I like that. Hewitt, Carroll. Hewitt, I tell you what. Hewitt, Carroll.
This coming late. I reckon, bang. Pommy. It's Hewitt and Carroll.
This is a good team. For about 37 blokes out on the injury list, this is looking pretty good.
That means Motlop and... That means 8 changes, doesn't it? 6 injuries plus Motlop and Pitto dropped.
Yeah, I told you, it's time to go full daddy. Good, daddy.
This might be damn close to your team, Pom. I think Wilson might be the only difference. Wilson and Fantasia.
I just didn't want to put all my favourites in. So, do you know what I mean? Because then I couldn't be daddy, could I? But Chincotta, Whittaker, Cowan, Wilson, McGovern, Newman, Walsh, Cripps, Hollins, Elijah, Lemmy, Moyer, Owies, Kemp, Williams, Young, Lord, Kennedy, Akers, Durden, Binns, Hewitt. That fucking wins. Like Michael Voss, if you're listening, that wins. That wins. Not a shadow of a doubt does that not win. That wins.
Can you scroll down to the bench for me, Pom?
Yeah.
Who's your sub? Is it Durden or Carroll or Hewitt?
Actually, Durden. I'd have it as Durden because we've got the rotations there.
Yeah. I'd have it as Durden.
They love the small forward as the sub. Bring it back. It's been a while. Maybe that's why we're not winning games. We haven't had the small forward as the sub for about 6 weeks.
I mean, I would like to start. I mean, I think he's pretty good. Carroll as a sub because you've got because I just don't know what he is. Like if it was totally up to me on that last spot, I would have probably put him.
Yeah. No, I think we'll fucking 100% see him in the team in real life. But yeah.
But chat, I love that. So, Mr. Legdog, before you go, because you've got so many appointments, what are you doing? When's this video coming up?
God, never. I'm too busy playing Jurassic World Evolution 2, which is a theme park management video game. It's taking.
I played the original Jurassic Park, and like that.
It's awesome. No, I've got a couple. I dropped an article yesterday, or maybe today. I can't remember when it came out on Code Sports. Got to talk about my favorite keeper options for draft leagues that you hadn't thought about. Basically, an excuse for me to talk about players that I love, like Pete Ling from GWS. Got another one coming out next week, how to win your grand finals. And then, yes, at some stage, I will upload this fucking video. At some stage. Stop asking me.
Well, I'm just trying to keep you honest, mate, because you're a man of many talents. So, Mr. Ian, what have you got? I've dropped Legdog's link. Just go on his latest video and just go hashtag stop being Carlton's midfield team defence. Please. Ian, what have you got coming up this week?
Well, I'm actually in a Supercoach draft grand final myself, and in one league got to the grand final, and the other one lost by a couple of points last week. So spewing, but I might be having to hit up Legdog to get him to fix my team to make sure it is nailed on, because injuries have killed me all year. Can't believe I've made the grand final with a ragtag bunch of players. But content-wise, if you want negativity on Carlton right now, my review of the Hawthorn game is out on the Navy Blue Corner YouTube channel and also wherever you listen to your podcast. But I made a promise in that one that's going to be the super negative one. And then the positive one was going to be the West Coast preview show on Blue Abroad, which I've actually just been able to upload throughout this entire selection table. It has been the most clutch uploading of a video of all time. It should be live in about 5 minutes at 10 minutes past 8 tonight. So once this is wrapping up, perfect timing. Head over to Blue Abroad and give it a watch. If I've done my best to try and pump everyone up and be a little bit excited. I mean, look, as bad as everything is, and this is what I'm kind of going with at the moment to get me through, so I at least turn the TV on Sunday, is that we can still mathematically make finals. Win 2, we make it. So why not? Get Cooper Lord in there, get Billy Wilson, and enjoy the boys having a run around for 2 last weeks.
Mate, I agree. 70% chance of making finals should we win this week. So that should get you up and about. My preview will be up tomorrow. I'm not too sure if it's positive or negative. I think it's somewhere in between. It's fluid. I'd call it aggression fluid is the way that I describe it. But we are going to hopefully have something to cheer about this weekend. But thank you everyone for joining in. Really engagement. You're all wonderful people in our book. Make sure you go and head over to Blue Abroad, watch Ian, go and give him some love. He works really hard, as we all do. Peace, love and light. See you next week. Go Blues.